Hello and welcome to Introduction to Section 508, What is it and why is it important? Slide 2, Objectives. Today's training will cover the following. Define Section 508 and its purpose. Explain why Section 508 is important. Describe who is impacted by Section 508. Identify information and communication technology, ICT, covered under Section 508, and assess whether digital content aligns with Section 508. Please note that important links mentioned during today's training session are available in the Introduction to Section 508 PowerPoint. A link to the PowerPoint can be located in the YouTube description below. Let's get started. Slide 3. What is Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973? In 1998, Congress amended the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 to require federal agencies to make their electronic and information technology, EIT, accessible to people with disabilities. The law applies to all federal agencies when they develop, procure, maintain, or use information and communication technology, ICT. Under Section 508, agencies must give disabled employees and members of the public access to information comparable to the access available to others. On January 18, 2017, the Access Board issued a final rule that updated accessibility requirements covered by Section 508 and refreshed guidelines for telecommunications equipment subject to Section 255 of the Communications Act. The final rule went into effect on January 18, 2018. Slide 4. What is Section 508 continued? The rule updated and reorganized the Section 508 standards and Section 255 guidelines in response to market trends and innovations in technology. The refresh also harmonized these requirements with other guidelines and standards, both in the U.S. and abroad, including standards issued by the European Commission and with the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG 2.0, a globally recognized voluntary consensus standard for web content and information and communication technology. Although the latest version of the WCAG is 2.2 and subsequent versions will be released, the revised 508 standards explicitly require conformance to WCAG 2.0 Level AA. The revised standards add new functional performance criteria to cover additional types of disabilities and added new requirements for information and communication technology with authoring capabilities. Slide 5. It's a requirement. Federal contractors and grantees working on Rehabilitation Services Administration, RSA, funded projects must ensure compliance with Section 508 when developing, maintaining, or using technology. Slide 6. Why is it important? It makes government services and information available to more members of the public. Improves access to information through design standards. Promotes innovation and competition among vendors, encourages private sector organizations that sell to the government to develop compliant products and services, and it is the right thing to do and upholds the constitutional value of a government of the people. Slide 7. History of Section 508. Displayed on the screen is a timeline of the history of Section 508 covering the years 1973 through 2017. Let's explore this together. In 1973, the Rehabilitation Act was passed, which prohibits discrimination based on disability. The following year, in 1974, Section 501 was added to prohibit discrimination by the federal government in its own hiring practices. In 1977, Section 504 was added to prevent discrimination against persons with disabilities in any federally funded program or activity. Later on, in 1986, Section 508 was added, which requires that federal agencies ensure that electronic data is accessible to persons with disabilities. In 1998, Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act was amended to incorporate all electronic and information technology. A few years later, in 2001, Section 508 was incorporated into the Federal Acquisition Regulation, FAR, and accessibility standards became effective. In 2013, Office of Management and Budget's OMB strategic plan was developed for improving the approach of how agencies manage 508 requirements. And closing out the timeline, in 2017, the Section 508 technical requirements were refreshed. Slide 8, 21st Century Integrated Digital Experience Act. The 21st Century Integrated Digital Experience Act, also known as the 21st Century IDEA, aims to improve the digital experience for government customers and reinforces existing requirements for federal public websites. The Act requires all executive branch agencies to modernize their websites, which include making websites 508 compliant, digitize services and forms, accelerate use of e-signatures, improve customer experience, and standardize and transition to centralized shared services. Slide 9. Usability and Section 508. Usability focuses on products being easy to use, easy to learn, effective, and efficient for users. Section 508 focuses on products providing equal access for individuals with disabilities, including enabling access through assistive technology. Usability and Section 508 go hand in hand. When usability and Section 508 principles are combined, web design is technically and functionally accessible and usable by all users. It creates a product that is easy to use, usability, and provides equal access for individuals, Section 508. Slide 10. Information and Communication Technology. Section 508 must be adhered to for all information and communication technology, ICT. This includes information technology and other equipment, systems, technologies, or processes for which the principal function is the creation, manipulation, storage, display, receipt, or transmission of electronic data and information, as well as any associated content. The bottom line is, if it is information and communication technology that is purchased, developed, used, or maintained by a federal agency, it must be 508 compliant. Slide 11. Information and Communication Technology, ICT, examples. Examples of information and communication technology include, but are not limited to, computers and peripheral equipment, information kiosks and transaction machines, telecommunications equipment, customer premises equipment, multifunction office machines, desktop software and mobile applications, websites, videos, and electronic documents. Slide 12. Disability types. Those that benefit from compliance with Section 508 include several types of users: photosensitive epilepsy, cognitive impairment, reading disabilities, deaf or hard of hearing, blind or visual impairments, nonverbal or speech impairments, and mobility impairments. Slide 13. 508 benefits all users. Section 508 is about more than compliance with standards. It's about developing solutions to meet the needs of all users with and without disabilities. Universal design is a concept in which products are designed to be usable by all people to the greatest extent possible without the needs for adaptation or specialized design. Slide 14. Benefits for users with motor disabilities. WHO. Conditions that fully or partially restrict a person's physical movement. Why? Common challenges include inability to trigger functions from the keyboard and locate the keyboard focus, missing labels for form fields and controls, and systems which impose timed responses that cannot be extended or disabled. How? operate digital interfaces using keyboard access, speech recognition, eye tracking software, switch control, or prosthetic limbs. Slide 15. Benefits for users with visual disabilities. Who? Anywhere from some to total loss of vision. Why? Common challenges include lack of text alternatives for images, poor contrast between text and background colors, and no keyboard access for active controls. How? Experience digital content using screen readers, magnification, enlarged fonts, custom colors, etc. Slide 16. Benefits for users with hearing and speech disabilities. Who? Some or total difficulty with perceiving, processing, or generating sound. Why? Common challenges include missing captions and visual alternatives for sounds, low contrast between foreground audio and background noise, and systems which require voice alternatives. How? Experience auditory content through captions and transcripts, video chat and sign language, assistive listening devices, teletypewriter (TTY), and real-time text or alternative and augmented communication (AAC) devices. Slide 17. Benefits for users with cognitive disabilities. Who? Includes a wide variety of conditions characterized by difficulty with learning, memory, processing information, concentration, etc. Why? Common challenges include language that is complex or confusing, cluttered and busy interfaces, and flashing, animated, or otherwise distracting components. How? Digital content is accessed using word prediction software, dyslexic-friendly fonts, and readability modes or simplified interfaces, among many other methods. Slide 18. Section 508 requirements for electronic content. Section 508 must be adhered to for all public-facing electronic content and 9 categories of electronic content that is not public-facing but considered to be official business. This means emergency notifications, adjudications of administrative claims or proceedings, program and policy announcements, official notices, formal acknowledgments of receipt, surveys, templates or forms, educational or training materials, and intranet web content. Slide 19. Why it's important to take Section 508 seriously. First, by law, it is required that you make your electronic and information technology, EIT, accessible to people with disabilities. Second, it's best to bake Section 508 into your project lifecycle as early as possible and should be included start to finish for each project. The next 2 slides will provide real-life examples of why this is important. Slide 20. Document project example. Say your team is tasked with creating a large report. The report is 300 pages and consists of text, custom-built graphs and charts, complex images, tables, etc. When creating the document, 508 was not considered ahead of time. Your 508 team is tasked with reviewing the report before it can be distributed throughout the agency or posted online. Keep in mind that a document that large can take weeks to remediate. The 508 team notices that the color combinations used for text fails color contrast, the graphs and charts that were built are inaccessible, and the tables are missing their table headers, etc. The 508 team sends the feedback to the authoring team, and the authoring team must now go back to the source document and change all text that uses color combinations that fail color contrast, rebuild all custom graphs and charts, restructure data tables, and start the remediation process from scratch and start the 3-week remediation timeframe over. Slide 21. Development project example. Your team is developing a website and the project deadline is quickly approaching. 508 wasn't considered in the beginning stages, Therefore, the website was developed without 508 in mind. Your 508 team was tasked to test the website with 1 week to go until the deadline. The 508 team tested the website and found numerous accessibility issues, which prevents the website from going live. The development team now needs to backtrack and change the layout, the color combination used for texts, add descriptive names to interactive elements, etc., which could take weeks to do. The project is now delayed, and the development team is at risk of missing their deadline, and the cost of the project is now skyrocketing due to duplication of efforts. Slide 22. Assistive Technology Demonstration with Non-Visual Desktop Access, NVDA Screen Reader. Now that we've seen how accessibility can fall through the cracks, let's take a look at how these issues actually affect users through an assistive technology demonstration. This demonstration will use a non-visual desktop access NVDA screen reader. This demonstration will be presented by a member of the New Editions Consulting 508 team. This demonstration will compare the differences between a document that has been created with 508 in mind and one that has not.
All right, so for our demonstration, we're going to be covering the differences between two different documents and then exploring the output that we receive from our screen reader NVDA. So I have pulled up two documents. One is a tagged version. This has all the Section 508 requirements applied to it. This would be considered a screen reader friendly document. The next version I have is untagged. This would be an example of a non-compliant document. Visually, they are both identical. However, as we will note, using our screen reader, we're going to have very different output. So I'm going to begin parsing through this document, and we're going to listen to the screen reader's output.
Heading level, graphic 508 logo. Heading level 1, how to tag a PDF document. For official use only August 20th, 2020. Heading level 2, table of contents. Link, how to tag a PDF document. Link 100. Link 6.1. Link plain text. Link 100. Link 33.2. Link lists, links, and references. Link 100. Link 4.2. Heading level 2, page 2, plain text. Lorem ipsum, 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 lorem ipsum. Heading level 2, lists, links, and references.
So with that, let's go ahead and conclude the tagged example. So what did we notice there? When the screen reader arrived at an image, it announced that we arrived at a graphic. It then read the alternate text description for the graphic. When it arrived at heading levels, it announced that it was a heading. So visual headings, it announced that they were headings. It then announced the content of the heading, so the actual text for the heading. When it arrived at links, it also announced that we arrived at links. Now that we move to our untagged example, first we have this compatibility notification from Adobe Acrobat asking us if we would like to use Adobe Acrobat to apply some settings to enable us to read this at all.
Prepare document for screen reader dialog. This document isn't accessible to a screen reader. Acrobat will prepare your document for reading based on your screen reader settings. Change screen reader options. Change screen reader options link.
So if we
Do
go
not
ahead and
continue
select
button.
continue,
Cancel button. 508 Training Sample PDF Basics Untagged Doc Adobe Acrobat Pro, 32-bit. Page 1, how to tag a PDF document, table of contents. Link, how to tag a PDF document. Link page, how to tag a PDF document, table of contents.
and I'll just go ahead and position us at the beginning of the document. Let's go ahead and start reading through this, see what kind of output we get.
How to tag a PDF document, table of contents. Link, how to tag a PDF document. Link 100. Link 6.1, link text 96. Link 37.2, link lists, link 100. Link 4.2. For official use only August 20th, 2020. Page 2 plain text. Lorem ipsum, lorem ipsum, lorem ipsum, lorem ipsum, plain text.
And let's go ahead and conclude there. So what are the differences that we're noticing? First, that image that visually appears at the top of the page is not announced at all. There's no alternate text description applied to it, so there is no output for it. Moving into our section headings that visually appear at the top of page 1, we have our main section heading, how to tag a PDF document, and then we have a subsection, table of contents. There is no differentiation between these two heading levels, so we are just getting announced the text for them. We don't know that they are headings. There's no announcement that they are headings, and we don't have the level described. So we're not receiving input that indicates whether or not this is a heading level 1, heading level 2. We'll also note that the disclaimer or designation text, which appears in the footer, this appeared in a different order than in the tagged version. So this designation text is very important that readers be aware of that immediately. Being made aware that this is for official use only. So this was placed elsewhere in the reading order in a more logical fashion so that it accurately reflects the implied reading order of the page. So with that, we've covered the differences between an untagged or a non-compliant document and a compliant version of that document. Again, visually, these are identical. However, the output that we're getting from our assistive technology is very much different when we are not applying these concepts. So with that, let's go ahead and return to our slides and conclude our presentation.
You can find the link to the NVDA in the YouTube description below. Thank you to the New Editions Consulting 508 team for that demonstration. We've covered a lot of information here, but don't worry, NCRTM is here to help. Slide 23. Join NCRTM for Accessibility Office Hours. What are the NCRTM Accessibility Office Hours for? To offer support for making materials accessible for Disability Innovation Fund, or DIF, grantees. When do these Accessibility Office Hours take place? They're hosted the third Wednesday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Why should you join an NCRTM Accessibility Office Hours? To get tips, feedback, and resources to improve accessibility. Registration is requested. This link is available in the PowerPoint and in the YouTube description below. For questions, or if you'd like to share materials in advance, please email the NCRTM team at ncrtm@neweditions.net. Join us for the next Accessibility Office Hour and learn how to ensure that your work is accessible. Slide 24. NCRTM Guide for Product Submissions and Websites. Guide for Product Submissions and Websites. This guide provides key steps, timelines, and support for accessibility remediation, product submissions, and transferring website hosting to the NCRTM. Guide for Product Submissions and Websites video tutorial. This tutorial outlines RSA grantees' responsibilities, timelines, and processes for submitting grant products to the NCRTM library. Slide 25. NCRTM Accessibility Resources. Accessibility Resources includes brief tutorial videos, quick guides, and federal resources to aid in ensuring accessibility. Why accessibility is important. These brief tutorial videos are a quick and easy way to get started. Why is accessibility important explains the importance of accessibility. Screen reader simulation demonstrates difficulties users with screen readers have when reading inaccessible documents. Accurate versus poor captioning demonstrates poor versus accurate captioning designed to show why accurate captions matter. Dyslexia simulation illustrates how individuals with dyslexia may experience text. While it does not replicate the condition exactly, it aims to highlight some of the challenges that people with dyslexia may face when reading. Slide 26. NCRTM Accessibility Resources continued. Top 10 Essentials for Accessible Webinars. This brief video reviews the 10 most important items to keep in mind when creating and hosting webinars. Guides to assist accessibility efforts include PDF accessibility, webinar accessibility, PowerPoint accessibility, Word accessibility, and Excel accessibility. Slide 27, Digital Diff Community. Expanded Digital Diff Community. Learn about new and past Diff programs. Gain insights into strategies and best practices to support individuals with disabilities, educational, and employment goals. View products and results from the Diff program. You can access the Disability Innovation Fund Diff program page at ncrtm.ed.gov/DIF. Slide 28, Questions and Support. Lastly, as a reminder, important links mentioned during today's training are located in the accompanying PowerPoint, as well as the YouTube description below. If you have any questions or require support, please contact NCRTM by email at ncrtm@neweditions.net. Thank you, and this concludes today's training session. Disclaimer. The contents of this presentation were developed under Contract 91990023D0037 91990024F0395 from the U.S. Department of Education Department. The Department does not mandate or prescribe practices, models, or other activities described or discussed in this presentation. The contents of this presentation may contain examples of, adaptations of, and links to resources created and maintained by another public or private organization. The Department does not control or guarantee the accuracy, relevance, timeliness, or completeness of this outside information. The content of this presentation does not necessarily represent the policy of the Department. This presentation is not intended to represent the views or policy of, or be an endorsement of any views expressed or materials provided by any federal agency. Edgar 75.620.